G'day G'day, my name's Jim, and today I'm going to be giving you the no bullshit guide on buying a MIG welder. So, you've been thinking about buying a MIG welder, and it's a little confusing. There's hundreds of different types of welders. All you got to do is look on eBay or Amazon and you'll see there's MIGS, there's TIGS, there's plasma cutters, there's MMA, and there's MIGS with TIGS and TIGS with MMA, and TIGS, MIGS, MMA and plasma cutters. They can all go into one little box. Technology is so good. It is so cool. Well, unless you've got no idea what the fuck half that shit is. So let's make this as simple as we possibly can. If you need a quick brush up on what these different types of welders do, then check out my other video. That's going to explain all that, and then shoot back here. So I'm guessing you're either in one of two categories. One, you're buying your first MIG welder ever, or two, you've been using your granddad's welder for the last decade, and even though it's lasted 3 generations, might be time for something that's not quite the size of a refrigerator. And maybe something doesn't take Mars telly out with an EM pulse whenever you fire the bastard up to weld the tractor. Okay, so check this out. You've decided how many gadgets you want in your box, whether you want a stick welder in there, whether you want plasma cutter in there. Okay, so number 1 on the list. What power do you have available where you are going to weld? So here in Australia we have 2 main types of power, domestic and commercial. Domestic is 220 to 240 volt, 10 to 15 amp, and commercial is 400 to 415, etc., 15 to 32 amp. So unless you live in a factory and your power points look like this, we're dealing with domestic power at 240 volt. Okay, so here we have a couple of wall sockets, and one's 15 amp and one is 10 amp, and they look pretty much identical, really, don't they? It's besides the big 15 written on them, and the older plugs don't even have that written on them. These are only because they're brand new that they've decided to actually put it on there. So what the difference is, this is a 15, alright, and this is a 10, and the size of the earth on there is twice the size. As soon as I tell people about that, they go, no, you've got it wrong, there's no way in the world. That's because the current isn't gone through the earth. There's no way. You've fucked it up. They've done this so a 15 amp will not fit in a 10 amp socket. Alright, so you can't put high demanding loads through these sockets. Okay, so that fits there, but a 10 will fit in a 15. But a 15 will not fit in a 10, and that's the only reason why they've got those large ones. Now, you've always got that somebody that says, oh, we just shave these pins down a little bit so they fit in. Well, yeah, that's great, but the trouble is, one of these pieces of wire is 15 amp and one of them is 10 amp. Can you tell the difference between which one's which? Look at the size difference in that shit. So what happens if you cut down that plug and you stick 15 amps through this wire here? If your overload protection or your circuit breaker or your GFI is shit, you burn down your fucking house. And yeah, good luck getting insurance if they do a bloody autopsy on the joint and they find out that you've shaved down a fucking 15 amp welder plug and stuck it in a 10 amp circuit breaker. The other thing is too, of course, if your circuit breaker's working the way it should be, it just fucking cut off all the time, just non-stop. Every time you go to use your welder, it'll just shut off. And, you know, besides the fact, this shit's going to get hot. It's going to get real hot. Look at the size difference between it. So this might be a little controversial, in which case I'm rather looking forward to the comments below. Get yourself a MIG that runs with gas and without gas. They call it a gasless. So don't worry, it's not going to cost you any more money. All it means is you can muck around later and find out whether you want to use gas or not gas. The next thing is accessories and consumables. Just have a look at the pictures of the welder you're thinking about buying, read it, the ad, find out as much about it as you can. What you want is, you want something that's going to take generic parts. You don't want something that has its own proprietary consumables. It's one of the worst things ever when you buy something and the friggin' parts aren't available for it. And you've got to fucking get on eBay and order them from Czechoslovakia or somewhere. Just have a look around, see what consumables are available to you. If it takes a 15 kilo roll of wire, well, you ain't going to buy that at Bunnings at 6:30 on a Sunday night. Package deals. Don't let this persuade you into buying their welder. A lot of the times this gear is absolute shit and they can't sell it in any other way. If you buy in the next 15 minutes, we'll include a slag hammer, a wire brush, a roll of rusty wire, a welding helmet guaranteed to send you blind after 3 months, and a pair of gloves that'll only fit a 13-year-old Chinese girl. So just make sure you check out what that stuff's worth before you go the bundle deal. Right, so now here comes the big bit. So here's a slightly exaggerated conversation I had with a mate of mine last year, helping him choose a welder. Amperage, he's saying, amperage. I need 300, 350, 500. Why can't I get more than 500 amps without going three-phase? Oh, life is just so unfair. Well, what the fuck are you welding, a D9? 99% of the time, I'm welding stuff that's under 5 mil. The stuff you're going to weld is not industrial. You're going to weld things like checker plate. You're going to weld up car exhaust. You're going to weld up a hitch on a trailer. You're going to be doing shit like that. You're not going to be welding fucking 25 mil plates together. Even if you do want to do that, a 120 amp welder will still do that. It just won't do it all day, every day. What you're actually after is be able to turn the welder right the hell down. Now, trust me when I say it's a lot easier to weld a thick piece of steel in an emergency with a low-powered welder than what it is to try and weld up the rust in your Kingswood using a 1mm plate of steel with 300 amps. The moral of the story is don't be so impressed by how much they saying a welder can put out. Be impressed by how much variance you've got in that, how you can turn it up and down. And not just low, medium and high. If you've got a 300 amp welder and it's only got high, medium and low, it's divided into 100 amp segments, which is pretty much fucking useless if you're trying to tack up the exhaust on your son's dirt bike. Alrighty, so the last thing I wanted to talk to you about was warranty. No matter what it says on the side of the container or on the ad, if you buy it online, you have no warranty. Yes, if you pay by PayPal or something, you might get 6 months, or Amazon might give you a few months, or whatever, but at any point in time, if they decide to ignore your email, you're fucked. You don't have any warranty. So if that's something that really concerns you, then buy it from a shop. Yeah, it is going to cost you a lot more, but that's the price you pay. Well, I'll be back in a flash with a sack for your cash in another video. If you like this, remember to rate it and comment. Then YouTube might actually decide to fucking share it. That'd be nice of them, wouldn't it? Be good, stay safe. We'll see you around like a result. Trendsetters, play the music. Our house in the middle of techno.